Good.
Good deal. So I'm gonna say this again. I don't know who else will join us, and we'll see. I did just start recording, so I don't forget to do that. But and I'll say this again. So I have I posted test review in Alnet, and I have it pulled up. I want to talk about it together today. But basically, I'm just going to give students the option. They can either take, you guys can either take the exam on Monday in class or on Wednesday in class. We're not going to start a new chapter next week. We're just taking the exam. So you can either take it Monday or Wednesday, but we're going to go over the test review together today. I did post it into Alnet. I believe it's under exams and payroll problem. If you go to that handouts in Alnet, but I do have it pulled up as well. And so we'll go over that together also. Hopefully this problem won't take us too long. Hi, John. Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you for the email. Thank you for the information.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember when we were doing advising, I said, you know, you were the first person that I ever scheduled for MBA classes. So it's a learning process. I appreciate you letting me know. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, what time are we at? 1:59. So we'll just give it another minute and see who else joins us. But we're recording this and I'm going to post it for anybody that was not able to join us. And then where is I've got my payroll book here in my office. Let me spin around and grab that. So we're doing this continuing problem that hopefully we've all been doing as we've been going through the chapters. Because remember, we've been doing continuing problem A together. You guys have continuing problem B as kind of a final project in class. So if you haven't been kind of keeping up with it as we've been going through it, you know, it might not be a bad idea to go in there and kind of get that updated, but not before the exam, right? I'd spend any more time, you know, studying for the exam up until next week. But I'm going to say it again. I know Allie's connecting right now too. You guys have the option. Let's see, is Allie? Oh, hi, Allie. Can you hear me? Hi. Hello again. So you guys have the option to take the payroll exam either on Monday or Wednesday. So I'm gonna send out an email. I'm gonna tell all the students, for anybody that wasn't able to join us today. We're gonna talk about test review together today. And it is posted into Alnet for you to look at, but you guys will have the option to take it either Monday or Wednesday, depending on what your sports schedules are or what have you. And if we have any other special circumstances, you know, we can talk about it. No matter what, we can figure out a time to get the exam made up. So let me share my screen with you. I've got the continuing payroll problem pulled up. And again, we're just finishing this next portion of it. And this is the federal income tax, state income tax, city income tax. So let me pull that up here. I have saved what we've done so far. So the blue columns that we see here already filled in are the columns that we've already completed together. And so basically now we're completing column U, which is federal income tax, column W, which is state income tax, and column AA, which is city income tax. So that's what we're looking at on this continuing problem. And this is that same one that we've been doing throughout every chapter. So this is on page, and I'm flipping to it right now here. Where is it? Oh, I went into chapter 5. This is on page 69 of chapter 4. So chapter 4, page 69. So It says refer to the partially completed payroll register, which you worked on at the end of chapter 3. That's what we have pulled up here. You will now determine the amount of income tax to be withheld for each employee, proceeding as follows. So number 1, it says in the appropriate columns of your payroll register, record the marital status and the number of withholding allowances claimed for each employee using the information provided. So, okay, so they're giving us this information in the book. And so they're saying, okay, Fran Carson is single and she has 1 withholding allowance. Let me make that a capital S, not that it really matters. The next employee, William Wilson, is also single and has 0 withholding allowances. The next one is married and has 2 withholding allowances. And then Lawrence Fife, married and has 4 withholding allowances. I need to get a piece of paper to keep my line straight here. Lucy Smith is single and has 2 withholding allowances. Gretchen Fay is married and has 3 withholding allowances. Glinda Roby is married with 6 withholding allowances. Thomas Skork, single with 1 withholding allowance. Barbara Hardy, married with 5 withholding allowances. And then Carson Kipley, married, 7 withholding allowances. So they gave us that information in the book. And then that was number 1. So number 2, it says, record the payroll deductions for the simple plan that the employer has established for participating employees. All employees are participating. And so this is that column, simple. And here, let me see if I can hide a few of these for now. Well, we want all of our earnings in there. I guess we can hide these 2 for now. And then we can hide these as well, just so we can see the information a little bit easier. Okay. So for Fran, she has $20 simple deduction for the retirement plan. William has 50, the next employee 40, then 50, then 20, then 40, 50, then 60, then 30, then 80. And we can total these up. Oh my gosh, you guys, my husband drives me crazy. He is already home from work today and he's out there revving up the engine on his car. Lord have mercy. Okay. 440. Okay. And so now we've got those in there. That was number 2. And it tells us too, all of the employees are participating and their weekly contributions are listed below. The tax deferral on these deductions applies only to federal income tax. So it doesn't apply to state income tax. It doesn't apply to city income tax, only that federal income tax. So now part 3, it says record the amount of federal income taxes using the wage bracket method. Okay, so the wage bracket method, we've got back on our tables, and I'm just going back, wage bracket method. So this person is single, 1 allowance. Okay. And then, I forget what it told us on these, and I probably, Let me look here. I probably hid it in the columns. Let me unhide these for a second. Unhide. Unhide. Oh, shoot. Unhide. Yeah, you know what? I can't, this is for period ending January 8th. I just wanted to make sure that they're all, do you guys remember all these weekly? I'm going back and looking. Let's see, I just want to make sure that we look at the right tax tables here. So let's see, continuing problem A. Yeah, this was for just the one week. Okay, so weekly. Okay, good. So I just want to make sure we're on the right table. So single weekly is what we're looking at. That's married person weekly. Here's single person weekly. And so we're on Fran. Fran has one allowance. And so let's see here. We look at, so we're looking at tax table T5. Let's see here. One allowance. Okay. So then, and remember the amount that it's based on is the regular or total earnings in her case, which are the same thing, 700 regular earnings, 700 total earnings, right? Minus that contribution into the plan, right? So this is based on, and maybe I'll just put it in the side here so we remember. This is based on 680. So we'll say equals 700 minus, just to remind us, right, about that simple plan. So when we're looking at the numbers, we're going to base federal income tax on the 680. Okay, so then if we look at the 680 range, and she has one allowance, so then federal income tax, $60. Okay, now this next person equals total earnings minus, they put 50 into their retirement plan, so 847.04. This person is also single with 0 allowances. So where do we find 847? We're still on that same table. 847. This is with 0 allowances, so $91. Okay, the next one, I know last Friday, we kept going back and forth on the tax tables. I want to be able to get through this and still do test review. So hopefully you guys have the tax tables pulled up, but we're on weekly tax tables. So this one we've got 678.75 minus, they put in 40 to retirement. So we're looking for 638.75 or 639, basically 638. Now this one's married with 2 allowances. So we've got to go to the weekly married table. This is table 6 or T6. All right, so weekly married, 2 allowances, 638. Okay, so that'd be 0 allowance, 1 allowance, 2 allowance, $25 federal income tax for this employee. All right, now for this one, we're going to say equals total earnings minus, this person put in 50. Yeah, okay. And I guess I could really just pre-fill this for us. So we don't have to keep doing the calculation. That's just the total earnings minus what they contributed. Because remember, any contributions to the retirement accounts are not tax federally, right? Are not subject to federal income tax. Okay, so now we're looking at what? This person's married, 4 allowances, 827. Okay, so married, 4 allowances, 827. So this is kind of toward the bottom of T6. What is it? 827. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So $28 federal income tax for this one. The next person is single, 2 allowances. So we're looking at weekly single. And then what'd they make? 770. So that's 0 allowance, 1 allowance, 2 allowance. So $61 on this one. Okay. The next one, married, 3 allowances. Okay. Married, 3 allowances, $499. Married, 3 allowances, $499. So 0, 1, 2, 3. $3. $3 federal income tax on that one. Okay. Now I'm guessing just because of the number of allowances on this one, it's going to be 0, but we'll look it up anyway. So this is married, 6 allowances. Okay, so 573. 6 allowances. So that'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So after 4 allowances, it's 0 income tax. So with 6 allowances, this one's got 0 federal income tax withheld. The next person, single, 1 allowance. So now we're flipping back to this weekly single table. Single, 1 allowance, 713. So this is $64 for this one. Married, 5 allowances. Again, I'm just guessing with this number of allowances, it's probably going to be 0, but we'll see. So we got to flip back to the married table. 5 allowances, $636. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'd be 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. I thought it'd be 0. It's not 0. It is $1 single. All right. And then finally, this last one, married, 7 allowances. Holy smokes. Okay. 920. Married, 7 allowances. 920. This 920, this is one where we've got one range, 909 to 920, and then below that, the second range, 920 to 931. So remember, we go with the second one, basically the higher bracket, right? Or the higher, the next bracket. And so 920, we've got 7 allowances. So that'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. $13 federal income tax on this one. So equals the sum of all of these together. Okay, good. So we've got that federal income tax put in for each employee. And so what's our next step to this now? Those are our, let me flip back to the comprehensive problem here. Where is it at? Okay. So that was number 3. Number 4, it says record the state income taxes on the gross weekly earnings for each employee. The rate is 3.07% for the state of Pennsylvania. So I'm going to just put a note in here and remind us of that 3.07% for state. And then the city rate, because this is number 5, to record the city income taxes, the city rate is 3% of the gross earnings. So equals our total earnings times 0.0307 is what that one would look like. And again, in an effort to save time, I'm just going to drag this down. Equals the sum. All of these together. Okay. And then we need to do the same thing for city income tax. So equals our total earnings times 0.03, 3%. So 21. Just pull that down so it populates it for us. Equals the sum of all of these together. Okay, hopefully that's looking okay to you. That's just the next steps of the payroll register. Well, not next week, because next week we have our exam, but the following week we start unemployment. So that's where we're going to have, state unemployment, SUTA, and then FUTA, federal unemployment. So that's what we go into in chapter 5, right? Unemployment taxes. And so that's where we're going with this next. But for chapter 4, those are the only columns that we had to fill out today for chapter 4. So we filled out, and I'll just highlight them real quick here. We filled out the federal income tax column. I'm just going to highlight it so we can see. We filled out the state income tax column. We filled out the city income tax column. We filled out the retirement contributions. And then we also filled out marital status and number of allowances. Those are, I guess we could say the 6 columns that we completed in chapter 4 for our continuing problem. So are we doing okay with this? Is that making okay sense? Any questions about this so far? Okay. All right. Well, let me stop sharing this screen. I am going to click save so it saves our progress on here. Because we just, every chapter we go through and add to this, right? So chapter 5, we look at the unemployment compensation, and then we'll fill in those columns for taxable income and unemployment taxes that the employer has to pay. Remember, the employee does not pay unemployment taxes. It's the employer that pays the unemployment taxes. And then also chapter 6, we get into doing the journal entries. I know that many of you have seen these journal entries already, but of course we're gonna get practice with them together. But is this comprehensive problem looking okay so far, hopefully? That's worth, worth some points of your final grade. So anyway, let me click save one more time, make sure I did that. I'm going to stop sharing that. Hi, guys. Oh, Cody's on there too. Hi, Cody. How are you?
Hello. I got Kinsey with me too.
Oh, hi. Oh, Mackenzie, I miss your face. Oh, my goodness.
Yep, sorry.
It's okay. Hopefully, I was going to say, I have an appointment Monday morning at 9 a.m. Do you think maybe you could come at like 9:30 or 10 on Monday?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, all right. Or I mean, I get to campus like by 7 or 8. So if you wake up earlier, you want to come earlier, but I do already have an appointment at 9, but I definitely would like to meet with you, if you still need to. So I know, are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling better now.
Okay, all right, good. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, I heard you laugh. Cody, are you laughing at me, or is that Mackenzie laughing at me? Nice. Okay, well, let's look at test review. Again, I posted this into ALNet, so it's in ALNet already. You guys have the option of either doing the exam. You can do it in class on Monday. You can do it in class on Wednesday. That's all we're doing next week. We're not going to start a new chapter next week. So I know some of you, I've already heard, have some sports things going on Monday. Some of you have sports things going on Wednesday. So that's why I said maybe it'll just be easiest to give you the option of either day, and hopefully that can satisfy everybody's needs. But anyway, let's go through and just talk about this test review together. And so remember, this is over, and hopefully, well, here, I don't think I shared my screen with you. Let me share my screen. This is over chapters 3 and 4. So all of these questions are from chapters 3 and 4. And so we can see here, and I'll kind of blow this up a little bit, and it's pretty much half and half. So the first half are from chapter 3, the second half are from chapter 4. They go in order, right? So number 1, we need to know the definition, or what is a semi-weekly depositor. Basically, you know, what's involved with a semi-weekly depositor, or what makes a company a semi-weekly depositor, right? What distinguishes the company as a semi-weekly depositor? Number 2, calculate Social Security taxes. Remember, OASDI is our Social Security taxes. I am going to put the tax rates on the board, so you don't have to memorize these necessarily, but remember, it's 6.2%. For the Social Security taxes. Know the definition of the OASD taxable wage base. So remember, the taxable wage base, according to our book, 132,900. And so that's the maximum amount of wages subject to Social Security taxes. So we just need to know, you know, as far as the definition, we need to know that it's the maximum amount subject to Social Security tax, Social Security taxes. So again, we'll have this amount on the board. I'm going to write the amount on the board for us. But number 3, you know, as far as the definition's concerned, we don't need to know the amount necessarily. We just need to know that that taxable wage base is the maximum amount of wages subject to Social Security taxes, right? Number 4, calculate FICA taxes. Now, since it's saying FICA, this is going to include both OASDI plus HI. I know my handwriting is not the greatest here. So in other words, it's going to be the 6.2% plus the 1.45%, right? Because it's saying FICA, that means that it includes both Social Security, OASDI, and Medicare, HI. Does that make sense? And that's going to be the same thing for number 6, right? It's going to include Social Security plus Medicare, OASDI plus HI, Medicare, right? Okay, number 5, know the failure to comply penalty. So the way that number 5 is set up, number 5 is like, all of the following are failure to comply penalties except, right? So if we know those few failure to comply penalties they talk about in the book, we'll know which one is not, if that makes sense, right? Because like I said, the question is set up, all of the following are failure to comply penalties except type deal, right? Number 7, know what are independent contractors, or in other words, maybe another way to put this, attributes or characteristics of independent contractors. So what makes a worker an independent? I know I didn't spell that right. Whatever, you guys know what I mean. What makes the worker an independent contractor, right? All right, number 8, calculate taxable wages. And so, you know, this is going to tell us, for example, that the employee had beginning cumulative earnings of X amount. Earnings for the period were X amount. What are taxable wages for the period? And so one thing that we're just going to have to keep in mind on this one, and again, it's going to be written on the board, is that Social Security, hot dog, I wrote that like a 5. Social Security max 132,900. Okay. Number 9 is a matching question. And so you'll see for number 9, these different things that you need to know. What is the form SS4 used for? What is a semi-weekly depositor? You already have another question where you're learning about or getting the definition of that. Number C, what are self-employed FICA tax rates? Or letter C, I said number C, geez Louise. Letter C, what are self-employed FICA tax rates? Letter D, what is the form SS5 used for? Letter E, the form 470, what is that used for? Letter F, what is the personal allowance? Letter G, the form 1099 miscellaneous. Letter H, the form 1096. Letter I, a Roth IRA. Letter J, pre-tax salary reduction. So the way that this is set up is that these come from both chapter 3 and 4, right? Some of them are in chapter 3, some of them are in chapter 4. So they come from both chapter 3 and chapter 4. Okay, number 10, no examples of employees. So number 10, because it talks about in the chapter, what are considered employees, right? And so number 10 is set up, all of the following would be considered employees except, right? So, if we think about, for example, independent contractors are not considered employees, right? Because they make their own schedules, they provide their own tools, that type of thing. They work for themselves type thing, right? But we need to know for number 10 some examples of who are considered employees and who are not, right? Because number 10 is set up, all of the following are considered employees except. So make sure that we know that. Number 11, calculate gross amount of bonus check. And so remember, this is where we take and I know you guys did this formula anyway in the in your questions for the chapter. I know you did a calculation like this, and it's not difficult. Again, we'll have the formula. I'll put the formula on the board, but let me at least point you to the right page here. Where does it show us to do this? It's on page 22. So chapter 4, page 22. And basically this is where we take the payment amount we want it to be, right? And we divide by 1 minus the applicable taxes. And so, again, you guys looked at that formula when you did your review questions for the chapter. And then also you do this within your homework, but we'll have the formula. I'll make sure to write the formula down on the board. So you guys will have the formula for that. You don't need to memorize it. Number 12 was also one of your review questions. So hopefully number 12 is already looking okay to you. But know when employers are required to or must submit W-4s to the IRS. I know when I updated midterm grades and I went through and checked your guys' homework, a lot of you had already done the homework for this. So a lot of you already know the answer to this. Hopefully, remember, it's when the IRS requests it in writing, basically. Number 13, calculate federal income tax. So I'm going to have the tax tables printed up for us. So any of the tax tables that we need, I will have printed up for us. So it's just going to be a matter of, doing some of the same, looking at the correct tax table and doing calculations like we have done already. I want to say number 13, and I'm going to pull up, the exam real quick so I can tell you 100% for sure. I can't remember if it's the percentage method or the wage bracket method. So you guys can't see the exam when I pull it up, can you? I don't think you can unless I share my screen with you. Hot dog. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this one is the percentage method for that one. So percentage method. Again, any tables that you need, I'm going to have the tables printed up so that everybody gets a copy. So, all right, number 14, know which tax forms are completed by the employee. So of the forms that we've talked about, which ones are completed by the employee? Number 15, know the definition of personal allowance. Again, that was within our matching question. So that's a little bit of a repeat, but that's okay. Let's see, number 16, know how to handle an employee that does not mark marital status. So when an employee forgets to mark the marital status on a W-4, what do we have to do with that? And the answer is, if they don't mark marital status, then we treat them like they're single then, right? All right, number 17, calculate federal income tax. This one, I believe, is a wage bracket method, but let me double check. I'm pulling this up. That one is also percentage method, excuse me, percentage method. Number 18, know what is the form 1099-R used for. And then number 19, know when an amended W-4 should take effect. And so there's a specific amount of time that once an employee fills out or changes their W-4, how quickly do we need to put that into effect, basically, right? Okay, and so you'll see most of this is multiple choice definition. We don't have too many calculations within the multiple choice questions. You know, we can say, okay, let's highlight this. We've got one calculation here. We've got a calculation here. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've only got 7 calculations within the multiple choice. So most of them are definition, but the bulk of the calculation here then is with our problem. And so we've got to calculate net pay for 5 employees after these 3 taxes have been deducted. So after we've deducted federal income tax, Social Security, and Medicare for 5 people. So not quite as big of problems as we've been doing together. Not, you know, a little bit smaller problem, but you know, it's going to give you the gross pay, right? And then we're going to have the federal income tax tables. On this problem, I believe, is the wage bracket method. I think I'm double checking here if I can remember. Yeah, so this problem is the wage bracket method. I didn't type that in here, but I'll write it down. We're going to be doing this using the wage bracket method. Okay. So not too bad, I think. Like I said, 7 calculations within the multiple choice. And then we have essentially 5 employees that we have to calculate their net pay. So it's going to give us the gross pay. We don't have to do anything to calculate gross pay. It's going to give us the gross pay, and then we just need to do federal income tax, OASDI, which is also known as Social Security, and HI, also known as Medicare. All right, so while I've got this pulled up, any questions about test review? We're going to study hard this weekend. I don't think we'll get any snow next week, so we'll be in person. Right? Is it looking good, guys? Any questions about this? All right, well, once you guys have a chance to start putting together your study guide, if you have problems finding an answer, if you need clarification, you know where to find me. Please email me. You know, either way, like I said, you'll have the choice of taking the exam either on Monday or Wednesday. And so hopefully that works with everybody. You know, if we have a special situation, we can work around it. We'll figure it out, right? We'll get through it. All right. I don't know if you guys are happy to know this, but this is technically week 8. So now at the end of class today, we are technically halfway through, right? No, not week 8. This is week 9. I'm going crazy. I don't know. It's hard to keep up on the dates. More than halfway through, I guess. More than halfway through our book anyway. All right. Anything else we can think of? All right, guys. Well, you know where to find me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.